Hi, this is Peter,
Hi, this is Sandra,
and we are medievalist.net.
and tonight we're going to be talking about the season 2 premiere episode of The Borgias.
The Borgia Bull, as it's called.
Right, thank
So,
you, because I forgot. That's nice.
So the Borgias are finally back, and we really loved the first season. It was very interesting. It kind of ends with the family all happy together, but right off the bat, we kind of see the family is not being happy together because Cesare and his brother are at kind of fighting each other. There's this kind of sometimes it's a bit of a game, and sometimes this is getting really serious where like they almost come to kill each other. And there's a part where Pope Alexander, their father, is like saying, "You guys have to kind of work together, whereas we're only going to succeed as family." But it seems to be they're setting the tone for this kind of feud between the family.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be an ongoing feud that we're going to see throughout season 2. I don't think it will end well for one of them because there's only so long that they can keep it up.
Yeah.
I found it, it got pretty serious. There's a very Cain and Abel moment there when Cesare won a sword fight that got very serious, and ironically, Michelotto steps in. He's the assassin. He kills just about everybody and anything that moves, and he stops them from killing each other. I thought that was kind of funny. And then,
Michelotto's he's a cool customer, so he knows while these two brothers are really hot headed.
Well, that's true, and he wants to keep making money, right? If they're dead, he's not employed to kill people.
Right.
But yeah, Rodrigo kind of, says this really great line he has is like, we are one and we'll only triumph as one. And he forces them to kind of join hands and, make nice and be friends. And it lasts for like 5 minutes. Then they're at each other's throats. And there's some funny scenes, there's the serious sword scene, and then there's this scene where they're having a horse race, and Juan throws
these are caltrops, which is kind of a little weapon they would use in the Middle Ages.
They look like Cracker Jack.
Yeah, they're they're just like little iron spikes, just for a horse to jump on, and of course, like horses don't like to step on that stuff.
So he unhorses his brother, but then the funny part is Cesare gets him back when they're dressed up at this pagan party that Rodrigo's thrown, and chucks them on the dance floor. And Juan looks like an idiot because he steps on them and he starts wailing and flailing and screaming, and it's kind of funny. So it's going to set the stage for an interesting back and forth kind of spy versus spy, Kenny versus Spenny type thing going on there. Yeah. Speaking of their father, Rodrigo, his infidelity.
So we all know that he's quite the ladies' man, and he seems to like you see it right away. Like this is the guy who has his mistress, his second mistress, and now he's a few girls on the side. So we have this great scene where he's trying to get this girl out of his bathtub, and he does succeed, although his mistress eventually discovers some stockings in his bed and is kind of seeing what he's doing. So but this is typical Rodrigo, so it's not shocking for me. It's just
I thought it was a great scene. He thinks he's not caught, but then Giulia Farnese discovers this pink stocking in the bed, and there's a really poignant scene where she puts the mistress's stocking on and one of her own. Rodrigo doesn't even notice. It's so she's kind of, her 15 minutes of fame are done. And she's panicking now because now she's watching him like a hawk, and he's out there flirting with everyone. Yeah. And I guess, we can address this other point that he's found this boy,
this apprentice.
Vittorio, who turns out to be Victoria, who is hiding as a male so that she can be an artisan. And she notices Rodrigo is infatuated with her, so in a panic, she runs into, of all people at the pagan party, Vanozza de Catenai, Rodrigo's former lover, and actually has the nerve to ask her for advice, which I thought was hysterical.
Yeah,
Did you find that so funny?
and she gives her advice. Well, don't do what I did, which is let things happen. So, and she says, get involved with this, come, be if he needs to have another woman, you also be with that other woman, kind of stuff,
So he never has his sights. He never loses sight of you for another. So she basically lures Rodrigo with Victoria and invites her into their bed. So now he's got two women he's bedding. One of the girls dressed as a boy, which that's got to look great.
It's good to be the Pope.
It's great to be the Pope. Speaking of which, so Rodrigo's pagan party and excesses.
Oh, okay. So he's out hunting and he kind of stumbles upon what looks like to be an old Roman brothel, and he gets very excited by this and says, "Oh, let's have a big celebration." And of course he's just spending loads of money that he doesn't have, and the other cardinals, well, how much is all this fun going to cost? Well, 250,000 ducats so far, but
I guess that's not cheap.
No, probably not. And it's kind of ridiculous where they make this giant pagan bull
idol. That killed me.
This show really stretches the credibility of I know Borgias were that bad. We're a bad guy, but man, this is way too much. Sometimes, but it was pretty funny. In a sense,
they're trying to make a point.
Yeah, they go over to the top, which is great. So
they don't just hammer it home. They shoot you point blank in the head with the point that the Borgias were bad people.
It's so they had this pretty much a pagan celebration where everyone's in wearing masks and pretending to be various ancient gods. Oh, it was just so funny. And very Catholic, very religious. So
right, and here's the other thing too. And so he's doing this pagan thing. He's also flaunting Lucrezia's bastard with a stable boy in front of the papal court. I thought that was atrocious. This is the one scene. This is where he and I differ. I hated this scene. I thought Jeremy Irons. It was a waste of his good acting because it was their attempt at comedic relief, and it just really, for me, it fell flat. It was really lame. Rodrigo, Jeremy, whatever, was trying to make it funny and parade the baby and chastise the messenger who came to his court. I cringed. I hated that scene. I thought it was sort of like a cheap laugh, and it didn't work.
It worked for me. I was cracking up as he's kind of doing this little walk with the baby, and he's sits on the papal throne. Shh, the baby's trying to sleep, and to me, I thought it was just hilariously funny, and just because I could just see that in any grandfather, so doing that kind of silly kind of thing, and just even that the Pope can be doing it, I was cracked up on that kind of whole scene. So
I kind of think the other reason they put it in, even though I hated the scene, was to sort of show that Rodrigo is falling. He's in season 1 he was manipulating, and he was this head of this family, and now he's like a clown. He's so open about his debauchery and stuff. It's almost become like a caricature.
Well,
it's over the top. Like you were saying, I don't know that they would actually allow it. It seems so out in the open. It's ridiculous. It's become ridiculous.
Jeremy Irons, I think they made the character for him to kind of be on this edge of madness and greatness type guy, which he can kind of and sometimes he's very lucid, and he's a powerful schemer and really, really sharp. And other times he's just crazy. He's where he's just giving in to all his indulgences, and he really doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And he's often crazy. There's been parts even in the season 1 where at a point where he dons a monk's robe and stuff like that, and he seems like he's going crazy. and that's what you always get that. Like you see him, he's going crazy, but then behind the scenes, he's really a conniving guy. So you don't know, and that's why I kind of enjoy that kind of character of how he is. So.
I think he's lost his touch, and now Cesare's left to do his dirty work, as we see in the opening scene where he gets an altar boy. Like, it doesn't get more sinister than that. He gets a young boy to poison a cardinal.
Della
and
Rovere.
then, Cardinal Della Rovere. And then he, like, reveals himself in the church as, haha, gotcha. Joke's on you, as Cardinal Della Rovere is going down from being horribly poisoned. And the worst of it is he doesn't even kill him. He just leaves him languishing so that he can say, you know what? How about you just work with us, not against us? Just so he can, you know. And then the nastiest part of it is to show just how cunning and evil he can be. He gets Michelotto to do away with the altar boy.
Yeah, you know.
That was pretty brutal.
You know, and that's why I like I want to see more of Cesare's character, because that's, you know, how he really was. He was really kind of a evil kind of guy. So that's why I want to see more of that out of Cesare, because that's, you know, that's my impression of how his character should be.
Cesare makes Rodrigo look weak, and especially in this episode with this buffoonery, with the party, the open debauchery, and parading the bastard baby around court. Cesare just makes his father look like...
Yeah, Cesare is the evil genius,
basically.
And, you know, where his father is the kind of mad genius, so...
And lastly, last but not least, and it's a small scene, we have King Charles of France coming out of this horrible Neapolitan sickness, which sounds like something you'd get from ice cream. But anyway, I had to say that. It's brain freeze.
It's a brain freeze, yeah.
Anyways, he accuses Alfonso of infecting the populace, so he hunts him down. What did you think? And he wants to bring him to that Last Supper, and
I kind of like the scene where the Alfonso is running up Mount Vesuvius, and like you can kind of see it's like almost about to blow up or something like that. But you know, it's like we're, but you know, some, you know, like at this point I see, you know, King Charles is more of a little buffoon type character. You know, I don't take him too seriously. Like he's a bit of a, you know, sometimes like. It's a bit of a joke, you know, like where he's kind of, you know, he brings in this guy and he's kind of whining and dining him, and then he's torturing him, and and he's just kind of a bit of a humor onto that too. But to me, you know, like just the way his character talks and stuff like that, you know, I can't take him too seriously, like so.
I think he's pretty sinister, but he's funny about it. But I think he's a stronger character right now than Rodrigo. I think Rodrigo by far is the weakest character. Yeah, I'd say even weaker than Lucrezia. She's got more of a pulse on what's going on than he does. He's too busy yucking it up.
Lucrezia doesn't do very much in this episode.
No.
You know, she's kind of...
She just looks pretty.
You know, otherwise, you know, Juan has a couple of good lines and stuff like that, you know. We don't really see too much character development. He's just a bastard little guy. So
not loving the hair this season, but other than that,
I think it's setting up nicely. You know, it sounds like, you know, I'm kind of waiting to see what's going to develop. You know, with the kind of the arc of the show, like what's going to happen in season 2, because you don't really see I don't know what's going to happen really in next 2 or 3 episodes. I don't know what the deal is going to be. It's obviously going to deal something with Charles because he's still in the area. So
yeah, but it looks pretty exciting. I think it was a good episode. It had just enough of a shock factor with like the horrible murder of the altar boy, and this shock factor with Giulia and the triangle with Rodrigo to make it, you know, sandwiched with political intrigue, to make it an interesting mix of, you know, it wasn't just all dialogue. It wasn't just all murder and mayhem. It was like I think it was a really good mix for a season 2 opener.
Yeah, like I think in the end I really enjoyed the show. It was like it kept me hooked for the whole thing, and as I said, like it was kind of a fun episode with a big party and a big kind of a few laughs here and there. So
I'm definitely looking forward to next Sunday. So Please join us next Sunday at 10 p.m. on
Yeah.
Bravo to watch
And
Borgias.
if you're in the United States, you can watch it on Showtime, I believe.
Thank you.
Well,